by the power of Grayskull.
I made a buddy.
That's a big Twinkie.
Welcome everybody to the one, the only Zero Box Prize podcast, the podcast that serves you 3 scoops of pop culture with only half the sugar. And I want to introduce the man himself that I'm always introducing all the time, and I can't do the show without him. He is my penny to my Inspector Gadget. He is my California raisin. He is the man that gives me my good bar. The man himself, the one and only, the man that's filled with chocolate good nuggets all over on the inside. My Mr. Whatchamacallit, Aaron Schmelzer. Aaron,
oh man, there was a lot of innuendos in that one this time.
Oh man, dude, do we have a lot of topics to talk about, man? First of all, I just want to let everybody know that I saw The Flash.
Woohoo!
And woo! Aaron, have you gone to see The Flash yet?
No, I think we talked about it. That was one of the 3, the put back on the shelf or keep it or whatever. Just because of the Ezra Miller, right? That was his name, right? Their I don't know pronouns. Their name. So yeah, no, I didn't go see it. I did hear good things though. Surprisingly, Michael Keaton's role I heard was really good. And I guess the storyline and the way, because we all know DC's track record, right? Like DC does not have a good track record, except for like the old Batman saga. Not old, but you know, the Dark Knight trilogy.
The Dark Knight, yeah.
I mean, DC has had its fair share of bumps in the road.
Yeah, I don't know why. Like, and I know I've said this before in some of the last podcasts. It's like DC animated movies are always better than their live action counterparts. It's always been like that. I just don't understand. But I will say this: I'm not gonna spoil it for anybody, but Michael Keaton did a great job coming back as Batman, to the point where if he came back to play Batman, he hasn't played Batman since like 1989. 88 or 89. I just can't wait for him as Beetlejuice, because if he did that good of a job as Batman, the next Beetlejuice movie is going to be good. But I will say, even though all the crazy stuff with Ezra Miller that has happened in real life, the movie was good. It was a good movie and I enjoyed it. And Transformers Rise of the Beast, I did a double whammy that day. That was a good movie as well. So, have you seen that one, Aaron, yet?
No. I want to take Colin to see that one. So maybe now that he's out of school, we'll definitely go over to the movie theater and do some more fun activities like that. So, no, but I did like I did see the transformations, the CGI transformations, on the trailers and whatnot. And I thought they looked really good compared to the original ones look good too, but like these, because they're transforming into animals and whatnot, I thought that the transformations looked pretty slick.
Yeah, I would say Pete Davidson, he did the voice for Jazz. Oh my God, he did honestly, he was the main character of the movie. Was Jazz. Wow. So that's it. No more. I'm not talking. I know somebody's probably listening to this like, Steve, shut up already. I'm trying to watch this movie. Like, don't worry.
I think it's fair. I think these movies, have been out a week or two. I think it's fair. It's fair to talk about. It's not like they came out last night, and you went to a midnight matinee and, midnight showing and, that now we're talking about it. But no, I think it's fair. That's always a good topic too, of like how soon is too soon, or when's the right sweet spot to talk about things. Because I remember freaking, what was it, The Force Awakens, Star Wars Episode 7, it's like, when do you talk about it, and I happened to see a spoiler. I was trying to avoid everything, and I was watching a Twitch stream or something, and somebody was like, Han Solo dies. And I was like, oh no. Like, I was so mad. But like, because I did so good staying away from everything. So, and that was fresh. That was like the movie was maybe out like 2 or 3 days. So, that kind of sucked. But like, I don't know. I feel like 2 weeks is like a safe
Yeah.
bet to like give a review of a movie or a TV show or something that came out.
Nah, that's true. Hey, by the way, speaking of spoilers, did you ever see that clip of I think it was Michael Keaton? He went on Oprah, and everybody calls it the first spoiler ever. Like it was like the first spoiler,
No.
or like he went on Oprah, and I guess like they're asking him questions about the movie, and he ended up spoiling the movie, how like the Joker died, like on national live TV.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I think it's on YouTube. Check it out. And like the comments are like, "This is the first spoiler ever." Like back then, like.
So he was the first. He was Tom Holland before Tom Holland.
Yes, he was Tom Holland before Tom Holland. That's hilarious. By the way, so San Diego Comic-Con is coming up next month, and
nice.
As we know, San Diego Comic-Con, it's not even about comics anymore. It's about entertainment and toys and just
no. It's Funko Pops. San Diego Comic-Con is Funko Pops. That's all everybody goes there for. Screw the celebrities. They want the limited edition Funko Pops of like 200 pieces.
Oh, okay. Listen. If there's a listener out there that collects Funko Pops, look, I got nothing against Funko Pops. I used to have Funko Pops, but we're toy collectors and we love toys. But like honestly, I'm not saying there's not good Funko Pops out there, but I do not consider Funko Pops actually action figures. They don't move.
I don't consider them action figures either, but the collectability of them, you got to admit, like they hit a niche market, kind of like Beanie Babies, but I have a feeling that these are going to stick around a lot longer than Beanie Babies did, just because they can keep creating newer designs or variants or chases or this and that, whatever. I mean, I've look at how many Funko Pops they have of like Boba Fett. I think there's like 10 or something, or 20 with the Mandalorian. There's probably even more now. But like we have a bunch. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like them. The one thing that I did like about Funko that they're not doing anymore was they had the sodas. I don't know if you ever got into those or saw those. It looks like a soda can.
Huh.
And you have basically they come in a 6-pack. If you bought them, like if you buy a case, they come in a 6-pack, and 1 out of the 6 is a chase or a variant or whatever. Or depending on the limited run, but usually it's 1 out of 6. And they limited them to like, even the regular run was like, you would open it up, you get like a little pog. You remember pogs?
Oh my God, classics.
And it would say, you found the chase, and it's limited 1 of 1,000 or limited to 500. Or you would say, found the regular, it's 1 of 1,500 or 2,000 or whatever. A higher run, obviously. But now with the sodas, they're not doing limited batches anymore. So that was my draw to the sodas, was even if you got a regular, it was still limited to 5,000 pieces.
Oh wow, okay. No, I didn't even know. It's funny that you say that Funko did soda cans. I feel like Funko was just tapping into all things like food, because they also had the cereal. Funko cereal.
Right.
And you know what it was? I think they were just trying to like come up with something fresh, something new, because we all know what happened to Funko now. They had those warehouses filled with like backstock. And now like some guy out in Ohio where the landfill is like collecting all these Funkos, like, I mean, it's unfortunate, because they also laid off people, but anyways, I don't want to get into a tangent about Funkos.
All right, back to Comic-Con.
Yeah. So, I was just talking about Comic-Con. Comic-Con's coming up, and there's a lot of toy reveals. And Aaron, right before we started recording, I was talking about the show Cops and Crooks from the 80s. There's a toy company, I've never heard of this toy company, called Chicken Fried Toys and Fresh Monkey. They're combining forces, and they're doing Cops and Crooks, like with fully articulated figures. Now, if you guys don't remember the 80s show Cops and Crooks, it was like the opening scene was like amazing to that. And I think they were living in Empire City. I can't remember all the characters' names. It's been a while since I've seen that show, but and Aaron, do you have some of the OG 80s cops and crooks toys?
I don't, but my dad, I've told you stories about my dad. He decided, I went down there last December. All of a sudden, he saw one figure and was like, "Oh, that's cool." And now he has the whole freaking line. So, in the room we were staying in, I got to see and kind of mess with a couple of the figures. And they do look cool. The accessories are cool. I love the colors on them because it's that bright 80s colors, like the teal and the purple and the, the kind of like the James Bond Jr. line. A lot of them are very poppy, kind of like neon colors. And so, like, I like that about them. But, like, a lot of the accessories and stuff are pretty cool, too. Like, the vehicles were cool. Definitely a cool line. Just, I don't think even as a kid, even as an adult, I know of the line. I've never watched the show. I've never seen it. I think I've seen, like, the opening sequence, like you said, just because, I mean, like, I think when we were doing our research of, like, opening,
Yeah.
that came across. But, no, it looks cool. It's the only issue. It's not really an issue, but like I want people to have original ideas. And we've talked about that before. We don't need to rehash that. But like, okay, you're revamping the toy line. Like they're revamping Jurassic Park. They're revamping Masters of the Universe. They're revamping G.I. Joe. They're revamping all their stuff. Like I want. Like we talk about our friend Dave and like Warriors of the Universe, like Wotu. Like Wotu is an original line. Chance is amazing. His team's amazing. It's very, very, very articulate. There's a story. There's a world. Whatever. But like, I want original lines. Like I'm like when we were kids. Like every time we walked into Toys R Us, there was a different line. And whether because there were so many cartoons coming out, but now it's like, oh, walk into the store, it's like, I guess maybe like Bluey or Ryan's World or like the new Transformers or Spidey and His Amazing Friends. I did see today at Target though, and I was surprised was they had the Jedi Adventures. I don't know. They're like little shorts on the Disney Channel. And they had some cool little figures. Like one of them's like a blue Ewok. I forgot the guy's name, but he's like a little Ewok Jedi or something. And it looks cool. But like, I don't know. I want original ideas. Like that's something that I thrive for.
Nah, Aaron, like I totally agree. So there's a guy doing 9 to 5 Warriors, and remember Food Fighters?
Yep.
Food Fighters were awesome.
Do I remember Food Fighters? You know me and my affinity with Food Fighters.
Food Fighters were the best, man. It was like back in the 80s, it's like you have this donut just with like a Rambo articulated gun, and like they're fighting like what were the teams? It was the
Kitchen Commandos and oof, yeah.
Kitchen Commandos and something. Oh man, this is gonna. Oh great. The next comment I'm gonna get is like, I thought you guys were true pop culture nerds.
Yeah, I just said my affinity for Food Fighters.
Yeah,
I didn't know you were gonna hit
on?
me with the quiz.
No, but there's a guy out in Miami. He's doing 9 to 5 Warriors, and what it is, it's kind of like a homage to Food Fighters, and it's all these office supplies. There's a piece of tape, a pencil, an eraser, and they look awesome. And right now on Big Bad Toy Store, you can place an order so that they can get made. And Big Bad Toy Store, love Big Bad Toy Store. They don't charge you until the stuff ships. Me and Aaron are not sponsored by Big Bad Toy Store. We just want to give shout outs to Big Bad Toy Store. So just so everybody knows.
But if Big Bad Toy Store wants to sponsor us, they're more than welcome to reach out to Steve Garcia.
Yes, please reach out to us.
It was the Kitchen Commandos and the Refrigerator Rejects.
Refrigerator Rejects.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that will be like there's 9 to 5 Warriors coming out. Somebody did I think I told you this, Aaron, Shazoric Warriors. They look like dinosaurs. They're dinosaurs, multicolors. They're on Big Bad Toy Store. They just came out. So you know what it is. And again, I don't want to go to a whole rabbit hole because we've done plenty of discussions about this, but it's just that IPs, a lot of companies are scared for new ideas. Now, why is it though in the video game realm? I'm going to say that one more time. In the video game realm, there are more brand new ideas than the toy or movie realm. If you really think about that.
Yeah, for sure.
There are more independent video games being made there than like there's more brand new ideas than movies being redone, the same IP over again. Or hey, Ninja Turtles. Hey, we're just gonna keep going Ninja Turtles, GI Joe, Transformers.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's just the IP. There's a brand, there's a name, and nowadays, in order for you to start something from the bottom up, it's not like it was back in the days. It just takes so long, man.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
I just feel like companies don't want to take risks anymore, man.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. And I mean, like, everybody's worried about the almighty dollar and because of inflation and all this other stuff. I do think that they're kind of like sticking to the like, oh, Jurassic Park, but I will say this, like Lego just released some new Jurassic Park sets. I bought one because I was like, holy shit, like that's cool. It was the Dennis Nedry getting attacked by the Dilophosaurus
Oh,
and the teeth.
nice.
It was cool,
That's nice.
and so Joy built it, so I got her first Lego set. God, what was it? It was recently. She didn't. We always joke around. My wife, did not have a childhood. So like she's like Legos, whatever, But then I sat her down and said, "No, let's build a Lego set." So I bought her first Lego set. This is within the first couple like recent months. Now she's hooked. She loves them. But so she built that set. I bought it for her. She built it, and it was cool. There was even a tiny Barbasol can, like as a
Oh, that
Lego,
is awesome.
and the East Dock sign spun, like you could
Oh
spin.
man.
So like they're doing like Lego knows what they're doing. When Lego releases a new set, they know what they're doing, and I guess like new ideas. Lego, because it's such a just niche market, I feel like they kind of have an out. But like, you're right. The toy companies want to stick to what's safe. They want to stick to, the Masters of the Universe, the Jurassic Parks, the GI Joes, the stuff that's been around. Because it's not only targeting younger audiences,
Right.
because if a kid walks in and goes, "Whoa, what's this Lego set? It's a giant T-Rex," and then dad's going like me, I'm going, "Holy crap, that's awesome! Like we need to build this and put this in our house." So like it's connecting the generation gap. But like I don't know, man. Like I just want to walk into a toy store and see like something that I never seen before, never even heard of before, and be like, "Wow, that's cool!" Like I want to start collecting this line. Like I want that feeling again.
Yeah, either that or, and I think I told this to you and Dave. Again, I always mention Dave is our local friend that sells us like toys and stuff. He has a store in Goffstown, New Hampshire called Finders Seekers. Check it out if you guys are ever in Goffstown, New Hampshire. Check out that great store, lots of toys and a
Dave, you
lot
owe
of
us
like.
$1.
Yes, Dave, you owe us $1 because we're like we're over
For the
here.
plug.
Yeah,
We're
plugging
gonna
your
start
store.
charging you.
No, but I think I said this to you and Dave one time. Why don't they just take like those weird characters that we saw in cartoons that never got figures, like immature radioactive samurai slugs, or Eek the Cat had the terrible thunder lizards, just like, or even do a Eek the Cat, like things that like we never ever got, like that.
Yeah.
Now you're like, hey, you know what? I remember that. I wouldn't mind having a figure of that.
Well, like we joke around about Kablam, like the human flesh, like imagine if they made a fully articulated like human flesh instead
Oh
of the
my
Burger King
God.
toy that we got.
Oh, I will go crazy, man. Oh, that would be awesome. Like all like Kablam figures. I know somebody's gonna comment like Steve's gonna go crazy over a naked man on the shelf.
Steve, you can already do that. Just paint the He-Man just nude and you'll be fine.
No, but yeah, I definitely agree on you. And before we transition to another topic, Aaron, and I know you know more about Legos than I do, but man, nothing beats those 80s, 90s early Lego sets that we grew up with, man.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like they were they were a hell of a lot more basic. there was like the spaceships. We didn't have the curves,
Right.
We had the they were very pixelated, I guess you could say. Yeah, no, I mean that's what we grew up with. I mean, that's all we had. We had the two dots and the smiley face. We didn't
Yep.
have the sorry, let me silence my phone. We didn't have the uh you know,
Oh,
flip heads
the
or the
flip heads.
guys with beards or whatever. So, it was a different time. I mean, I like the castle no, actually my favorite was the pirates. The pirate play
The
sets,
pirate place that was awesome, man.
and then
I
like
always wanted that.
the deep sea ones, the aqua raiders.
Oh
That
my
was my
god.
jam.
How much are those things going for right now? Those
They're going for decent money. Vintage Lego has jumped up quite a bit. I think
really?
again because of the affinity that it has, um, and the nostalgia factor. I mean, like especially because it brings back those memories of like when you or I were kids. Like imagine you walked into a store right now, and or maybe somebody's house. Let's picture that way. Set the scene, right? You walk into somebody's house and they have an old school like full pirate Lego scene set up.
Oh,
Like that would just bring you back to a
oh,
different time,
that would
you know?
be just to see that again. Aaron, I haven't seen one of those in person, like
Hmm.
actually in person. Like I would love to just see like that built in person from back in the
Right.
days. Oh, that would be. It's like me when I walked into your toy room, man.
Yeah.
Like, oh god, for those listening right now, Aaron has the. Oh, I can't even explain it. It's like you go down to his basement and you're back in time to like the 80s and 90s, and it's just like I tried to see everything you had, but there was so much awesomeness all around me. Oh my God, it's amazing, man. Oh, if I can just go back in time and just see one of those Lego sets, but anyways,
Yeah.
I digress. Sorry, I'm going on my on my childhood memories, but there's a topic that I want to talk about, Aaron, and I know we spoke about video games here before, and look, I wasn't a major PC gamer back then, but my little brother played a lot of PC games. I wasn't really into the World of Warcraft. A lot of my friends were back in high school,
Right.
but there's a game that just came out and everybody's talking about it. Even my coworkers. I can't escape this game. I don't know much about this game. Even my brother talks about it. And
Mm.
yes, I think I know everybody knows what game I'm gonna talk about because it's been all over, and that is Diablo 4. Now,
Mhm.
Aaron, you've played the other Diablo games, haven't you?
I played the hell out of two. Um, I think I was a little young for one, but I played two a lot. And then three I dabbled with, but and then I did get four. I've probably put I don't know 20 or 30 hours so far into four.
Oh man. Okay. Aaron, I don't know anything about Diablo. Is there a way that you can explain what this game is about or the storyline?
Yeah, so it's I think they call it an ARPG. It's an action RPG. It is kind of in the RPG realm because you have quest lines, you have things that you need to do, you have certain gear. You're constantly. I call it more of a dungeon crawler
Mm,
because you're constantly going from dungeon to dungeon, trying to, complete a quest or kill a side boss or kill a mini boss or kill a, you know, progress the storyline because there is a story.
mm.
And so far, I will say that is one of the shining features of Diablo 4 is that the story connects, the story checks all the boxes. I'm just finishing Act 3, so
Mm.
like I know I'm about halfway through the storyline right now. But like it talks about the previous games, it talks about the previous lands like Tristram. I think it was from Diablo 2, but there was like a little cutscene, and one of the guys talked about it. So like it's connecting the dots with the other Diablo games. So it the timeline makes sense if that makes
That's
sense.
awesome. And see, I love when games connect. Like, I don't like it when you're playing like video games and then part two comes out, but it has nothing to do with part one. Like, I
Hmm.
like when there's a lineage, like a full storyline. Like, that's amazing. Now, is this like if I was playing Diablo 4, can I play online against people? Is it like an
So
online?
there is a PvP area, but it's certain areas. So it's kind of like World of Warcraft in the sense that like You can do most of the game without worrying about fighting somebody else online. Like it's NPC based, and you don't really have to go into the PvP area. I believe that they made it that way so that the PvP area was optional. You could go in there and get some certain things, but I know a lot. Diablo was always kind of notorious for PvP, and when you kill somebody, you get to take their ear. So like. Well, like, not really, but like when you kill somebody, you could pick up like if you ever played Call of Duty, pick up like a dog tag.
All
and
right.
this one you pick up an ear. So a lot of people like keeping their trophies. So you would have like a bag full of ears, like showing off like, oh, these were all the people that I killed. So it's cool. So I'm about 30 hours into it. I got bored really quick with it though.
Really?
Yeah. So they did this thing, and I'm probably in the minority.
Okay.
I'll probably go back and pick it up for a little while. I was playing with my buddy Sean, and like they do this thing called scaling. And so like if I'm a level 45 and you start the game fresh at level 1, we can still play together. All of the mobs that you're fighting on your screen are level 1. All the mobs on my screen, even though they're the same mobs, are level 45. So, like, you're doing the proportionate damage to the mob at level 1,
right?
I'm doing proportionate damage to the mob at level 45. So, because what used to happen in other Diablo games was if you were level 1 and I was level 45, I could either drag you to like these high level areas and try to level you up quick, or we just wouldn't be able to play together because I'd be like, man, you can't go in here, or you go in here, you're gonna die because you don't have the proper gear, you don't have the proper whatever. So, but
wow, I don't know, Aaron, I don't know why. Like as you're explaining that, like let's say I was level 45, right? And and somebody's level 1, like wouldn't it be harder like if the level so technically what you're saying is you fight the hard people because you're level 45 and I stay with the easy people because I'm level 1. But we're all playing the same
damage screen. Your damage is proportionate. So like it's the same. So let's say we're fighting one boss. There's one boss. On my screen it's level 45. On your screen it's level 1. But it's the same boss.
Gotcha.
So they scaled it. So like the hit points on my screen might be 60,000. The hit points on your screen might be 600.
Oh, I see now.
So they scaled it. That's what
right.
So that's what they're talking about, scaling. The issue with that is I want to go in like a World of Warcraft. I want to go in a level. I want a zone that's okay. This zone is level 1 through 5. This zone is level 6 through 10. This zone is level 45 to 50, right? I want to take my level 45 character and go into a level 5 zone and just destroy everything, right? Like I want to be like, like, let's say I'm farming for something or whatever. I want that experience of taking my character into a lower level area and just blowing shit up and being like, ha 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 ha, that like because in World of Warcraft, if you were a higher level, a lot of the spiders or the whatever mobs were there, they wouldn't even attack you because you were such a high level. So you could like run through those areas without even being attacked.
Oh wow!
So, like,
okay.
But if you wanted to, you could go in there and freaking blow shit up, right? Okay,
right.
I could go and one shot a level 5 boss and then move on, right? Because of the scaling, every area you go to is scaled to your level. And so you don't get that experience of like going into an area where like there's lower level creatures.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so like I don't know, for me, and a lot of people are enjoying it, it's just not checking that box for me, you know?
You know what? Now that you explained it like that, I think that will get to me too, where it's just like, okay, I'm level 45, but you're putting me in a zone where it's still level 45. I want to be level 45 and be in a zone when it's level 10 and I can just tear shit apart.
Right,
Like,
right.
yeah, that's what I want to do. Like,
But every dungeon you go into is scaled to your level. And so, like,
wow, why would they do that? Though? That's so
so
weird.
because they wanted the experience, because they introduced a clan system, they introduced a, the friend system, so that they wanted people to be able to play together more. And so, like, that was the whole thing. And so you have kind of your easy, medium, difficult, hard settings. They call them world level 1, world level 2, and it goes all the way up to 4. And so I guess the kind of cool thing is at the start you can only pick one or two. So like one
Okay.
is like the beginner, like you've never played a Diablo game. Two, I started off at one just because I wanted the experience.
Right.
Two is like somebody that's like, okay, you've played Diablo before, you know what it is. This is kind of like where you should start. When you hit level 50 or about there, you should have been progressed through the storyline. And maybe I think it's like 50 or 60 because it goes up to level 100. You should be able to do this, what's called the capstone dungeon, which I
Huh.
thought was cool. I haven't hit this yet because I'm not through the storyline yet. But like, basically, it's like a gear check. So you have all your gear. You said you never played Diablo before, so like
No.
you have your headgear, your chest gear, your legs, your arms, your rings, your amulets. You have all this gear, and basically you would have to complete this capstone dungeon in order to unlock tiers, world level 3 and 4.
Okay.
So it's like a
Okay.
skill check, gear check, but then
Right.
once you unlock that, basically then you could start doing more missions to like progress through. I forgot what it is. It's like this rune board. That's not what it's called, but I'm trying to think what the name of it. I'm drawing a blank. And then you could progress through like the harder levels. So like I think at world level 2 you can get legendary items. At world level 3 you could start getting uniques, and there's another level of items that's like better gear.
Okay. Man, hearing you explain like the game the way it is now, it's almost like if I was playing a fighting game, let's say Street Fighter, and
Mhm.
Ryu, I got my character to like a level 80, right? He's super good, super strong. But then like each character that I go against, it's 80, 80. I'm like, dude, I
Right,
wanna go against somebody that's level 50. Like, why
right,
you keep giving me the same level as me? So
right.
yeah, I can see how that will get like frustrating and just like tired about it. Um, so it's funny that we're getting into this PC gaming talk. And Aaron, do you remember back in like the early 90s, like the early days of like PC gaming?
Hmm.
What do we have? We had Siphon Filter on PC. It was almost like have you played Siphon Filter on the PC? It was like
Not
Metal
on the
Gear Solid.
PC. I played it on the PS1. So like my earliest like recollection of playing a game on the PC, it was probably Doom. Doom was probably my
Wow.
first, or Duke, not Duke Nukem, Wolfenstein. Um,
Wolfenstein,
yeah, that was
yeah.
probably my first like PC game, other than like the ones that came preloaded with it. I would say Myst. I don't know if you ever played Myst. That was
Yeah.
probably an early one that I played. But yeah, probably Wolfenstein was the first like of my
Like
uh
PC journey
yeah.
into like PC gaming. I don't know why, but I'm picturing you playing Wolfenstein as Sublime is playing in the background, having a Mountain Dew, and it's just like 1997.
You probably got the I probably wasn't drinking Mountain Dew. I was probably drinking Surge. That was
Oh yeah,
probably,
Surge.
yeah.
Oh my
That's why
God.
I'm so fat now.
Giving us
But
all the sugar so we can keep playing, man. Yeah, back then it was like Wolfenstein, Duke Nukem,
mhm.
Doom, Tomb Raider. What other games back then? Oh, there's so many PC games people were playing. Star
Yeah,
Trek, another Star Trek
Red
games.
Alert, Command and Conquer. I played a
Yep,
lot of those games. StarCraft. StarCraft came
StarCraft.
out a little bit later, but and then you got the Warcraft, which was before World of Warcraft, which was basically like Command and Conquer. So like you
Hmm.
had to build your little towns and take take your little humans or your little orcs or whatever you're playing as, and the orcs were funny, man. If you've never played the original Warcraft, like the orcs had the best sound to them. So like you would click on them and they go, "What you want?" And then they'd be building something, they'd be like, "Job's done," and like it was just these or they go like "Zug Zug," like it was such like that. If you just like played that sound right now, that would take me back to like 1995 or whenever the hell that game came out. Because that, if you've never played Warcraft, just download. I'm sure it's like modern day computers is probably like 10 megabytes now compared
I
to
know,
like
right?
it'll probably download in a split second. But like the original Warcraft sounds were like the best, absolute best.
It's funny that you mentioned downloading like Warcraft now, but I just saw this thing on YouTube. It was like a little documentary of how like people took the original Doom and they like redesigned it so it can be like better. And now like I forgot the term. Teenagers who are growing up these days, they're calling the games that we used to play back then, those first person shooters. There's a new term. I don't know if it was called the baby boomer games or millennial. Like these kids these days, there's a name for it because we were the ones that grew up for it. And now the kids growing up now are going back and playing all those old games, and they're really getting into it. Like the old Duke Nukems, the old Doom, like, and that's pretty cool, man, to see like kids like, hey, you know what? I want to dabble into what Dad used to play back in like 1997, and yeah, they're getting into it, man. So that's cool. And real quick before we change topics, and I just want to bring this up. So me and Aaron go to the flea market. This is where we find like all our collectibles, all our Indiana Jones treasures that we find all the time. And Aaron, I remember this day where a couple of weeks ago we're walking and we see the computer. And what computer was it that we saw? It was a Macintosh or
I don't know. I'm drawing a blank on.
I don't know if it was a Windows or a Mac. It looked like a Macintosh to me.
The one that I wanted.
Yeah, the one that you wanted.
That some guy bought.
Yeah.
It was the toaster. It was it's got a tiny screen about that big, and it's all in one, and it's got the flash drive. Yeah, it was the Macintosh that I used in 5th or 6th grade. Yeah.
That was okay. So I saw it, right, and I'm like, "Wow, that's classic." I remember playing Oregon Trail or something like that back in the days, and I saw. It's funny, when you do a double take, I'm looking at you. I'm like, "Oh, Aaron's really looking at that computer right there," and then it was just funny because like. There's a guy, for those listening, there's a guy named Steve where we buy like, he has DVDs, a bunch of Pokemon cards and toys. And we get to Steve's booth and you're just looking at me. You're like, I'm like, what's wrong, Aaron? I can tell something was bothering you. You're like, I should have bought the computer. I'm like, yeah, I saw you do that double take.
Well, I didn't even have a chance to buy it. I think I said something like, I really hope that whoever sold it for like $500, because I walked up to the table as like it was on the table and I was like, oh shit, like this is cool. Like, how much is it? And the older gentleman, I've never seen him before, but like he was like, oh, it's already sold. And I was like, fuck.
How many times have we done that at the flea market? All of us.
A lot.
The worst.
So it was like, okay, whatever. But I didn't know the guy that sold it's one of our friends too. His name's Kevin. And I was like, oh, I hope Kevin sold that for like, and it ate away at me because like I was like, I hope he sold it for a lot more money. I hope he just didn't sell it for like $20, whatever. So we did. Thanks for bringing up this memory, by the way.
Oh yeah, sorry. PTSD.
Yeah, we did like a loop, and I think we came back to Dave's table, and I said, you know what, I'm just gonna go ask him. I gotta go ask him, and I asked him, and he sold it for a decent price. He sold it for like $150. So like I was okay with that. I was like, Kevin, please God, don't tell me that you sold it for like $20.
Oh, that would have
hurt. That would have hurt.
Yeah, that would have hurt, man. But yeah, classic PC. Aaron, what would you rate Diablo 4? as a rating
Well,
writer?
it's hard, right? Because like, so it's funny. My buddy that Sean that kind of convinced me to get the game because he was going to get it, and we were all supposed to play together on a game night and whatnot. And we played a few times, and I progressed pretty far ahead of him, and he kind of, but he's taking his time with it. He is a true Diablo fan, so um, I don't. 7 out of 10, 8 out of
Okay,
10, somewhere
that's
around there.
decent. Okay,
I feel like I would give it a higher score if I understood the scaling. They're doing a couple things with the season pass too, and it's just not my cup. It's not sounding like it's my cup of tea.
right.
They're making you create a new character each season. But I guess for the people that are fans of the series, it kind of gives you kind of like a fresh take on it. You don't lose your old character, but like if you want to play the seasonal content, you have to create a new character each season, which is like every 2 or 3 months. And like I guess they find different ways to progress through the levels. You would find different ways to like make your build. So like I think you could still like if you wanted to play like a barbarian or a sorcerer, you could still do that like each time, but you would just
Okay,
have to create a new character each time. And then there's supposed to be new events, new things. I don't know. I
man,
again,
video gaming has changed so much.
if I worked hard to get my character up to a level 100, I wouldn't want to start a new character at level 1 and just progress through that season knowing that this character is going to be not useless, but like that you're not going to use this character season 2, season 3, season 4.
Mm,
So
right,
like
right.
I don't know, but so he's sending me all day today. He's been sending me Reddits and like, this is why they're doing this, trying to like convince me. Cause I told him, I'm like, I'm trading the game back into GameStop. I want my money back. But like, I like the storyline is so good. The
Mm.
CGI, the cutscenes are phenomenal. The new antagonist Lilith, that's not a spoiler. That's pretty common knowledge. She looks badass. She's like this sexy devil, like chick, and the story of her is good. So like I don't know, like I feel like if you're a true fan of the series, it's definitely worth a play, just a playthrough. But I feel like anything past that, like I feel like I want to finish the story just to know what happens, and then I'm done with it. But that's just me.
Hey, you know what, man? That's an honest opinion on the game. I know video gaming isn't like it used to be. Now it's like, oh, you gotta buy this to get your character. Oh, here's a new
Yeah,
DLC. Whereas like you buy a Nintendo, Sega, Super Nintendo game, and that's what you get, and that's it.
yeah.
Whatever's there is there. So, but that's an honest opinion. And hey, man, you know what? We've been talking about gaming, and there's another topic that I have not read a comic book in a while. I think the last comic I read was the last Ronin graphic novel. Really great graphic novel, guys. If you've not read the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Ronin, they're on a new storyline right now with new turtles. Check it out. It's kind of like a prequel before everything started. But there is a comic that I never heard of
Mhm.
that Aaron was telling me about, and that was Battle Chasers. And from what I've read, the guy that created it, it was based off of a video game. Am I right about that, Aaron, or
No,
they made a game?
no. They did create a video game. So I have. So this is the. It's not the new one that just came out. I bought this recently because I wanted to go back. So this is the. It's the anthology.
Oh
So
wow, look at that.
it compiles all of the original 9 runs of comics and a couple of the prequel comics that he made.
Nice.
So like Joe Mad, I can never call him Joe Mad
Yeah,
because
Joe Mad.
nobody
Yeah,
can ever pronounce his last name. His freaking writing, his art style, is phenomenal. Like here's just like a picture of a boss fight, like that's
wow.
happening. Like just some of the stuff is just the art was way ahead of its time. So he compiled 1 through 9, and I'll even kind of show you here at the end. It just stopped. I don't know why it stopped. I think it was
Hmm.
published by Cliffhanger Comics. So
Okay.
here was a preview of issue 10 in that was never released in this anthology.
Oh wow, look at that. It kind of reminds me of like Heavy Metal. I've never seen the animated movie Heavy Metal.
Yeah.
But that's what it looks like that
But like
drawing right there.
some of the just art is just fantastic, right?
For the listeners who are listening to this, Aaron's just showing me some of the amazing artwork off the book, and wow, that is amazing, man.
So like he wrote 9 issues of it, and just it was phenomenal, and just kind of like a lot of things, it just kind of stopped. Now I don't know enough history about either the publishing company, because I think it was Cliffhanger Comics. This anthology was produced by Image, and I believe Image has the rights to it now. I'll have to check the issue 10. So issue 10 just came out last week. Yeah, last week.
Okay.
So they're continuing the storyline from where it left off 22 years ago. So
wow, that is I remember you telling me that, Aaron, and not for nothing. That is so cool because so Disney has X-Men 97 coming out this summer.
right.
And it's literally continuing right after the last episode of X-Men 94. Like literally it's just continuing the storyline from there on. And it's X-Men 97. And it's like when artists or production companies take that material that they love and they continue a story from like 10, 15, 30 years ago and it's continuing, I love that because it's like, hey, you know what? We didn't skip. We're going to start from here. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, so to give you, I'll read the back of it. So
yeah,
it's an eclectic band of brave heroes. Young Gully on the trail of her missing father, Garrison, a legendary swordsman, Nolan, the crafty wizard, Calibretto, an outlawed war golem, and Red Monica, the notorious mercenary, must join forces against the madman whose dark reign threatens the very fabric of their world. But before they have any hope of accomplishing their mission, they'll have to overcome an even more rigorous obstacle, getting along. So like it's this like band of misfits type thing. Gully, she, I mean, this was written 22 years ago, so there's no real spoilers. She gets these gauntlets from her dad. It almost looks like the Infinity Gauntlet. And her dad's missing. So she gets these gauntlets from her dad, and these like werewolf guys are like after her. And but these gauntlets like freaking turn her into like Supergirl, here's a picture of her when she first puts on the gauntlets.
Oh wow, look at that. That's crazy.
So like she gets these gauntlets, but everybody kind of knows that these gauntlets have this power, know. So like these like werewolf creatures are after her, the madman's after her, and then she gets in touch with the wizard and the war golem, and then the swordsman plays in, and then Red Monica, she gets in a little bit later. That's kind of where they stopped it though, was when Red Monica rejoined the group. So like I'm curious to see, because it seems like they're going to start publishing it on a monthly basis. So I've at least seen that they have issue 10 and 11 planned. 11's coming out next month. So like I'm curious to see how far they're going to take this. So the video game that you mentioned was interesting. I actually have it on the Switch. It was a release on the Switch. I think it was only on the Switch. I don't think it was on any other platforms. That came out in 2019, so that came out 18 years after the comic, and it was kind of another like storyline. It was like an RPG based game. It was really good. I played through that. I beat that because like I was like, oh shit, Battle Chasers, and that's what kind of brought it back. One of my coworkers, he was an artist, aspiring artist. When I worked down in Florida, he got me into this, and I never had the full run of comics, but I picked up a few here and there. So that anthology is like decently priced for what it collects. I think I paid like $25 for it on eBay, free shipping or something. So like, it's definitely worth it. It compiles everything. If you want to get into the new comics, that's definitely something to look out for. It's inexpensive and it'll catch you up to where you are now.
Oh, Aaron, thank you so much for that explaining. Because like again, like I never heard of Battle Chasers till you told me about it.
Yeah.
And for the listeners here who are listening and they never even knew about it, now that they have a little bit of information and backstory on the artist and what the story is about, check it out. I mean, Aaron, you said it was like $25 on Amazon.
Oh, I got it on eBay, but I'm sure you can find it on Amazon. I mean,
Oh, okay, there you go.
it's the Battle Chasers anthology. It's produced by Image Comics. I mean, MSRP is $25. For the money, for the artwork, for everything that's included in this, and just to catch up to like where it is now. I haven't dived into the new comic yet because I wanted to make sure that I have it. I just haven't got into it yet. There is like a brief synopsis page, which is really cool, that says our heroes last were like it sets the scene of where they left off 22 years ago.
That's awesome, man. That's again awesome. Everybody pick this up. If you never heard of Battle Chasers, I'm gonna have to do my research too and keep watching some stuff on it. But hey, man, it's always great to learn about something pop culture that you don't even know about, know. And this is what it's all about. This is why we love video games, comics, toys, movies, all this whole pop culture thing. Because I think I said this at a earlier podcast where back in the days, being into this stuff, you were considered a nerd. Like 80s and 90s. Oh, you're a nerd. You're into PC gaming. You're a nerd. You're a nerd. But now the tables have turned where geek culture is cool to be a geek. It's cool to be a nerd. And so now it's like the opposite, where like everybody's into anime, something cool, video games. It's not how it used to be when we grew up. Right. Where it was like, oh, you're into that? Oh, you're a nerd. Nerd. Yeah. But yeah, man, love pop culture. All right, I had to save this for last because I know we're gonna get into a deep dive about this. Let's talk about something that I don't know about, but I know about collecting cards because I used to collect cards myself. Magic the Gathering. Aaron, you told me about this elusive card. You know what? I'm gonna have you explain this because I read about it today at work.
Yeah.
I was supposed to be working, but I was reading about Magic the Gathering. So please explain to the audience what is going on with this. This is nuts.
So to segue on kind of like what you said earlier, though, so like I was this nerd, right? Like I was this geek. I used to bring my Magic the Gathering decks with me in high school. And again, we were considered nerds. Like it wasn't cool to play Pokemon or Magic or whatever. Like you were a nerd. Like, so I had my decks and we used to go in the library on our lunch break and we used to play Magic the Gathering and go to the, my mom and dad used to drop me off at the card store. And I actually ended up working for the card store years later. It was called Rookies. It was down in Florida. It was, that was my home away from home, was the trading card store that people were playing Magic or Star Wars CCG or whatever. So like, it's funny that you say that because like now, oh, you collect Pokemon cards? That's cool. Like Pokemon cards are in. Oh, you collect comics or Funko Pops? Oh, you play Minecraft? Like, it's a different time, and I'm embracing it. I'm loving it. It's cool to see Colin grow up in this era too, because like we're playing games together, and like all the kids, oh, you're playing Smash Brothers, or they're in the sports and stuff, but like you get them talking about Minecraft or Smash Brothers or something like that, and it's like game over. So Magic the Gathering, what a wild ride collecting Magic the Gathering is. Just like with anything, it's like everything has its ebb and flow, but Wizards of the Coast, and I want to say Hasbro, because I believe Hasbro produces the cards. They hit a grand slam, out of the park, home run, freaking with the Lord of the Rings version of this set. So it's a small set. There's a bunch of chase cards. But so Lord of the Rings, right? Let's talk about the lore of the Lord of the Rings. So Sauron created the Ring of Power. He created the Dwarf Rings. He created the Human Rings. He created the Rings of Power, the 9 Rings of Power, whatever, right? But there was the One Ring, right? The One Ring. So Wizards of the Coast decided to serialize the Elvish Rings of Power, the Dwarven Rings of Power, and I believe the let me just make sure I have this right. The Rings of Men or whatever it is. So, but while I'm looking this up, there's serialized cards, and then there's non-serialized cards, but they're still limited. So all the Rings of Power are hard to get. Okay. It's based off of a card called the Soul Ring, SOL, Soul Ring, in Magic the Gathering. So these cards can be only found in collector. Well, let me back that up. Most of them can only be found in the collector booster packs, which are like 5 to 7x a regular booster pack. Anyways, long story short, there is a one ring card, and it's in the language of Sauron, whatever the evil language that Frodo wears. It's in that language. It's got a really cool artwork to it, and it's serialized, and it says 001 out of 001. Somebody has offered a bounty for this card for $2.2 million. So, like, it is nuts. So, okay, yeah. 19 other great rings, including 3 rings of the elves, 7 rings for the dwarves, and 9 for men. So that was the Rings of Power that Sauron made in Lord of the Rings. So if you just go on, eBay, I have it pulled up right here. I did Lord of the Rings, Magic the Gathering, highest cards sold first. So there's a Dwarven Soul Ring that was serialized, so it's 002 out of 700. $6,770.
What?
That's for one that's out of 700, right? Serialized Elvish Soul Ring sold for $6,250. Another Soul Ring serialized sold for $3,000. Now, obviously, the market's hot on these right now. Another Dwarven Soul Ring sold for $3,000. Just to put this into perspective, like, for Magic the Gathering collectors, these prices are unheard of. Like, this is
really, never knew that.
So the only prices that were like even close to this were like Alpha Beta, which were the first 2 sets that Magic the Gathering ever made, like Alpha Beta Power 9, which Power 9, for people that don't collect Magic the Gathering, there were these 9 cards that were really powerful in the original set, like the Black Lotus, the Moxes, the Ancestral Recalls, the Time Walks. There were these 9 cards that basically they called the Power 9. And so an Alpha Beta Power 9, like let's just say Beta Power 9, I guarantee you are not going for that much more. So a Beta Power 9, this is mint, a Mox Jet sold for $10,900.
Oh my!
A PSA 9 or PSA 6 Mox Ruby Beta sold for $8,000. So these prices like are basically equivalent to the first 2 sets of Magic that came out in 1993, 1994. Like it's unheard of. No other cards have fetched this amount of money. So Hasbro, or I think it's Hasbro. Did I say Hasbro before? Or did I say
Wizards of the Coast?
Yeah, well, Wizards of the Coast, I think.
It's Hasbro.
Owned by Hasbro.
Hasbro, yeah.
They just, I don't even know. Like, so there's this guy on YouTube. If you want to know more about it, he is so knowledgeable about everything, investment wise, money wise. He has a YouTube channel called Alpha Investments. His name's Rudy, and I watch his stuff pretty regularly. I've been watching his stuff for years. He is just blown away by this. I think we all are in the collector's market. Some of the packs and the boxes. I think retail on the boxes were like $300. I think it was $399 for a collector's.
Jesus.
That was retail for a collector's booster box.
Man.
I think they're already up to like $600 or $700 on the secondhand market, and it only got released last week. So it'll be a week ago tomorrow is when the set got released, and it's just it's like the Willy Wonka and the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
Everybody's hunting for this one ring, but like God only knows, like some little kid could like open this up and put it in a binder, and it's almost like the one ring, right? Like nobody's ever gonna know where it is, right? Like there could be a chance. Now we feel like it's gonna surface at some point because like otherwise Wizards of the Coast could say, oh yeah, we put this card in there, but like never did. Kind of like the old Monopoly games, like
I remember that
Netflix series about how like this one family rigged the whole Monopoly game, right?
The McMillions thing. Yeah.
So like it's got to surface at some point, hopefully, but like. Do people do you want, if you know that this is a $2.2 million card, that's the offer on the table. It could go for 5, 10, who knows, right?
Jesus Christ.
Some guy, a Logan Paul, if you don't know who Logan Paul is, he's been buying Pokemon cards up the wazoo, but like he set the Guinness World Record for the most expensive Pokemon card purchase. I think it was last year or something.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Some guy in Dubai. And like, who knows? Some freaking prince in Dubai could be like, yep, I want that card. Here's $10 million.
So all right. So here's my thing. Obviously, no matter what it is, video games, toys, but what I find interesting about this story, Aaron, is that you said that for Magic the Gathering, obviously Pokemon cards have been hot for a while, like really hot. But for Magic the Gathering, this is like the first time like you hear these crazy prices. Like, yeah, there's been like, high price cards, but like not to the extent like this. And Magic the Gathering has been around for a while. So when you said that, it actually was very surprising to me. Like, wow, like, okay, like no wonder collectors are like going crazy over this. It's like this is the first time, because obviously me and you, we dabble into a lot of things of collectibles, and obviously toys are expensive, video games. But it's funny because maybe 2 years ago at the flea market, Dave used to have all these Magic cards. And I remember guys used to come and look at the binders. Oh, do you have these? Oh, do you have? And like, Dave's going through them. I remember me and you used to go through them to try to help him. Like, and I'm like, wow, people are really into like Magic like that. Like, I didn't know. But like, as far as Magic the Gathering and Pokemon, do you think Pokemon is over Magic the Gathering, or they're both kind of like neck and neck as far as like people are into it?
Totally different markets.
Gotcha.
Pokemon is mainly targeted for kids. Yes, there is now a collector's market, but like when we were growing up, there was a collector's market, but it took a nosedive because you got to remember that Wizards of the Coast used to produce Pokemon cards too.
Oh, that's right.
And then they stopped doing it early 2000s, and then Nintendo took it over.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I remember.
So basically, it's just different markets. I feel like Pokemon is still geared towards kids,
right?
Whereas Magic is geared towards like the tweens, teens, adults. There's more I don't know, mature, I guess. I'm trying to think of the way to describe it. More mature context.
Like context, and themes like to it.
More mature themes, more mature context. Like you have goblins and witches and necromancers and shit like that, where it's like, okay, Pokemon, you might have a ghost type, but
a Dweedle.
It's not as, and I will say this, like over the years, like Wizards of the Coast has definitely tamed it down.
Okay.
Like before Magic, you can go back and do research. It was almost like an occult thing. Like there were pentagrams, there was dark rituals, there was like one of the cards was called Dark Ritual, and
Oh
like
wow.
there was things like that. So there was like this theme, like Lord of the Pit, that looked like the devil. There was like the themes to the cards were different. Some
Right.
of the early artwork was very scandalous. Like there was, maybe a girl was drawn with some cleavage or something. They've gotten away from that, to try to be more family friendly,
Right.
but like it's targeted to, like, I would say teens and up. Maybe like 12 and up, where like Pokemon, we know friggin'
Yeah.
4, 5, 6 year olds are like, Pokemon Pikachu, I want
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
cards. But like, to put it into perspective, like the one chase card of Pokemon recently, the Umbreon, they call it the Moonbreon. I think right now it's around $600 or $700. Like, and that's a recent card. It's been released in the past 2 or 3 years. And that's the one everybody wants. And that's like the creme de la creme right now of like recent. It's like $600 or $700. That was like a feat in itself for the Pokemon community, because, like, again, the original Pokemon cards, some of those are fetching the $600 or $700 range. So for Magic to kind of do the same thing, but all right, you did a Lord of the Rings set. The Lord of the Rings has a wide fan base, so even people that aren't into Magic the Gathering,
Right.
with the artwork, with the context, maybe they just want a card that has, and you could get limited edition versions, not the one of One Ring. There's like 4 or 5 different versions of the One Ring. So like, okay, are you going to pay $50 for just a common version of it?
Mm.
Like it Lord of the Rings fans, I feel like, are some of the most loyal fan bases there are. With Tolkien and the way that everything was written. So I feel like this just hit a home run, like I said, grand slam. But like this guy Rudy, he basically says, why is Hasbro and Wizards of the Coast, I don't even think they realized how big this was going to be.
Wow.
So this
Wow.
is now the money making blueprint, right? You
Hmm.
have this blueprint. So what's the next set going to be?
Right.
Star
What's the next
Wars?
thing? I was just about to
What's the
ask you
next
that.
set? Transformers? What's it like?
Right.
What? Because Hasbro owns these rights, right? So like, not to Star Wars. I think that's still Kenner. No, Kenner's out of business, right?
Um. Wait. Is Kenner? Yeah,
I
Kenner's out
don't
of
know.
business.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
Hasbro.
So, but like, there's all the, like you said, intellectual properties, right?
Right.
Hasbro has a ton of IPs.
Yeah, Hasbro pretty much owns like all the major like IPs, man. Like it's
Right.
crazy. Like,
So going forward with this, you have this blueprint. People want limited edition cards.
yep.
People want to find that one of one. So to bring it back to like the sports card realm, there was the LeBron James triple logo man card that was like basically it was 3 NBA patches, um, from game used jerseys from the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Miami Heat, and then was it the Lakers?
I think the Lakers. Yeah, yeah.
Uh, I'm not a basketball person, so
No, I
don't
think I,
shoot
th- I
me.
think you're right. I think it was the Lakers. Yeah.
But basically, and they were all on one card. It was a one of one card, and that card broke all the records too. That card went for like a couple $1 million. So
Wow.
like,
That is. Oh man.
and that's current.
Just to interject on that. Aaron, there's a documentary for the listeners listening called Tops. I don't know if you've seen it. It's on. I think I saw it on HBO Max, but if not, Tops is literally about that. Tops cards back in the days when people were collecting all these sports cards.
Mhm.
Now, the main topic in the documentary is how everybody bought the Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card,
Mhm.
and everybody thought that rookie card was gonna be like the most like rookie card. You're gonna make a lot of money now. But in the documentary, they talked to one of the guys that worked at Tops because Tops said, "Hey, this is an exclusive card. It's Ken Griffey Jr.'s like rookie card."
Mhm.
But then in the documentary, we come to find out that they made millions of that same card.
Yeah.
Just
So
like when the Superman Death comic came out, everybody was buying the Superman Death comic. Oh, he died. I'm buying all these issues, and it's just like it's worth nothing right now.
Yeah.
Like literally. So yeah, great documentary. Check it out, Tops, man. It really goes into like sports card collecting and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, everything's speculative, right? Like
Right.
this person that has this $2.2 million offer for this one ring could buy this one ring, and God only knows. Now, I do believe that they're not going to produce like another one. It's not going to like you're not going to have one of one, one of two, one of three. Like this is a true one of one. Just like the triple logo man, just like some of the stuff that's come out recently. But at the same time, like God only knows like if this is going to hold its value, right? Like everything's speculative. It's a piece of cardboard, right? Like it's not gold. It doesn't. But to somebody, everything means something to somebody, or you have to have that emotional connection in order to spend that amount of money, right?
Yeah.
Somebody could hold on to it thinking that in 5 years it's going to be worth $10 million, but somebody has to have that liquid equity or liquid money to spend $10 million on a piece of cardboard, or there has to be that much hype around this that like. So I think it's definitely a really interesting time in card collecting, especially modern card collecting, because you're seeing this shift going from away from the vintage, right? Like a lot of people are like, yeah, vintage is cool, but like, oh man, this new Lord of the Rings set, that's where it's at. It's new, it's fresh, it's I feel like you're starting to see the shift even in Pokemon. Like I think pre-COVID, during COVID, Pokemon vintage went up. Not to say that Pokemon vintage is not still hot. It is. But you're seeing this shift into like, oh, some of these newer cards are really cool. Some of these new chase cards, like this Moonbreon that I talked about earlier. Okay, that's $500-$700 card. Like you're seeing the kind of change in the culture right now to like, yes, I still respect it. Yes, it's still cool, but I want the new stuff.
Oh man, you just hit a great topic where it's just like a lot of people moving more into the newer stuff, as far as card collecting than the vintage stuff, because it is cool. But like you said, COVID in 2019, right? Like right when COVID hit, and Aaron, we spoke about this on a podcast because people were stuck indoors and they didn't have much to do. They had to be safe with their families. A lot of people went on eBay and they just started buying vintage video game consoles, like Sega Genesis. Like over here in Boston, I live in Boston for those listening, and like I went to a video game store, retro store, not too long ago. They told me that during COVID, all their vintage consoles gone. Sega, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, because people just wanted something to do. And they noticed all the prices went up on retro video games during COVID. Same thing with toys. People were just buying stuff because they were bored, stuck at home. And it's funny because now I see myself more collecting more vintage action figures than going more modern. I really had the last modern toy I bought, and I said this was the Sergeant Slaughter from Hasbro. Like I haven't bought anything modern yet. Like it's been just vintage stuff that I've been trying to get. So,
which when you think about Steve collecting 2 or 3 years ago, you were like the NECA fanboy.
I was.
You were like, NECA. Not saying that you don't still respect NECA, but like you were hunting NECA. Yep. I was hunting those stupid classifieds, which I'm
the
done
classifieds.
With. Like it's interesting because like. Again, I think going back to our original topic of like, there's nothing new. Like, sure, like NECA was coming out with some cool stuff, but like, okay, how many freaking turtle NECA figures are you gonna make? Like, okay, you got the basic 4, you got the Shredder, you got this, all right. Okay, Super Shredder. Okay, this version of Splinter, this version of April with the bad knees. But then you got those stupid freaking like the one that I don't like is like, okay, well, this is the super secret limited edition that's only going to be released online, and you have to buy it. You have to buy it between 7 and 8 o'clock in the morning, and
man, I know we. Oh my God, Aaron, I just want to eat my microphone right now as you talk about this, because I remember 3 years ago, me and you were going through that. It was
Yeah,
like, hey, at this time, and I remember buying the Ninja Turtles 2 shirt or trying to get it online. I
yeah,
literally had it in my cart, and then it said it wasn't in my cart. I'm
yeah.
like, how? So then it got to the point where now, like you said, it's like, how many more Michelangelos do I need? How many more? It's just
Right.
like I kind of stopped. Like, do I love NECA? Yes, I love NECA. If you're listening to this, I still love you. I love your company. Please support our Serial Boss Price podcast show. Yes, I love NECA. I think they do an amazing job. But like, as far as turtles, do I love turtles? Yes, but I'm sticking more with vintage right now. Like, they just released the NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3 figures. I don't even know if I'm gonna get those. The movie figures,
Right.
like they even did the part two. I don't even know if I'm gonna get those. Like it's just like we've been getting hit with so many of the same stuff, just like you were saying, Aaron, that
Right.
I feel myself more connected. Like, hey, if I'm gonna go on eBay, let me see if I can get something vintage. Like, let me just spend my $80 on something vintage that I really want. So
Sure. And I mean, like, so that that's exactly it. And I mean, the NECA stuff, it looks cool. Like, they came out with the and I think it was NECA, the Universal Monsters Ninja
yeah,
Turtles. You
I
know,
actually
like,
have behind me my parents, my mom and dad, like for my birthday, they got me the mummy Michelangelo.
okay,
So that's cool. Like he looks cool. He's on my shelf. You know, I
yeah.
love Universal Monsters. So
Yeah, my wife Joy, she got me the Bride of Frankenstein April because I thought that one looked cool. I had mentioned it in the store. I was like, "Oh, the April looks cool."
that's
I don't
awesome.
know, like that was like one of the when I went to Universal Studios as a kid, like I remember seeing the Bride of Frankenstein and like, like walking around the theme park and I was like, "Oh, that's cool," because that was kind of a character that wasn't like the front runner. It wasn't Frankenstein. It wasn't, the creature from the Black Lagoon. It wasn't, I always liked those niche ones. So like, I don't know, but like stuff like that, like the last rodent figure, like it hits those boxes, but like, again, how many Michelangelos are you going to do? How many of this are you going to do? Okay,
Yeah.
you have Turtles 2, Turtles 3, or, oh, now you're doing the Channel 6 News
Yeah.
team. You're doing okay, like enough. But like even so, they were releasing a new figure every like 2 or 3 weeks,
Yeah, and
and
I
that
and I and I couldn't keep up. My
no,
wallet couldn't keep up. I just couldn't keep up with it. It's just like I can't be spending $40 a figure all the time,
right,
every 2 weeks, every month. It's just like,
yeah,
But going back, just bringing it back to the car collecting, what you said is like, yes, there is cool stuff. As far as card collecting, people are not that we don't like Pokemon cards, because obviously the reason why we collect this stuff is because it reminds us of our childhood. But like there's new stuff out there that's cool. And talking about card collecting, like I used to collect X-Men cards, the
hmm,
superhero cards, the bubblegum cards that used to come like with
oh yeah,
Gremlins and Turtles and all that.
hmm,
Like, and it's funny that they don't do that anymore. Like I feel like things aren't done anymore. Like you remember when a movie will come out and
hmm,
McDonald's will have the Batman cup.
oh yeah,
They don't even do that stuff anymore. But they did do the Pokemon McDonald's cards. Speaking about cards and that whole
yeah, oh
fiasco
yeah,
with McDonald's.
yeah,
So
Pokemon, yeah,
yeah, it's just crazy, man. But for those that are listening, I hope you learned something about Magic the Gathering. Again, like Aaron, we went on a deep dive and I learned so much about Magic the Gathering. Like, as far as the last thing that you said prior, where it was like, what's next? And I
yeah,
think that's in my mind, as we're talking about this, that's what I was saying to myself.
hmm,
Okay, you guys got this card. Now what? Like
right,
now, because now Hasbro, you're put in a position now where like you got all these collectors going crazy. Now you kind of tapped into something
right.
and you want to make it keep going. So then what's next?
Right. And,
What's
and
next?
and and again, I feel like they've seen the blueprint. They're seeing how successful this is. They're seeing the kind of the hype around it, and I feel like you're probably going to see because they tried Dungeons and Dragons and it didn't take off. They tried a
Yep.
couple other niche things and it didn't take off. But like, I feel like when they put these chase cards in of like this one of one ring, kind of like the Willy Wonka golden ticket, like all right, people are already offering $2.2 million. Well, what about if you just buy a box and sit on it for 2 years and nobody finds that damn ring? That price
Yeah.
of those sealed boxes, obviously when somebody finds it, it's gonna go down because that's like that one chase card. But if you have these other cards that people are selling for 13, 14, $15,000, like,
Crazy. Crazy.
okay, you buy a $500 booster box and you sit on it for 5, 6 years, who knows what it could be? If nobody finds a freaking ring, you could have it in that box and you could sell that box for, $5,000.
That is
Who
true.
knows? So, like, I don't know. It's cool to see. It's cool to experience this real time, kind of like this real life treasure hunt. But like, man, like Hasbro, Wizards of the Coast, they need to they need to open their eyes and say, okay, this worked. Now this is the blueprint to move forward, because like going back to the Funko sodas, as soon as you change them from non-limited edition, they
Right.
lose all their
Yeah.
value, their okay, you have a chase, but it's how many of these did they produce? A million? Whereas when you knew you pulled the chase before and it was one of 500, you're like, okay, I have one of 500. That's like the other rings that are in this. Okay, one of 300, one of 700. And then the non-serialized versions are like one of 3,000, one of 5,000, one of 7,000. So you still know that they're limited in some way. So the prices are only going to continue to build the more that are found, because the more that are found, the less that are in the market.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Wow. I'm just listen, to me, when you told me about this the other day and I was reading upon about it today, I was just like, wow, this is really happening. This is like whoever finds that card, their life is about to change, man, because that listen, again, like I haven't been a card collector since I was a kid, a teenager.
Mm,
But just hearing what's going on in the Magic the Gathering world, I hope everybody that's into Magic the Gathering, I hope that they continues cool stuff like this.
yeah,
Because it makes it fun to collect. It's just like, hey, you know what? Let me see if I can find this card. Maybe I'll be the one to get it. So
right.
let's
And
see.
and and just as a caveat though too, like that was a very small portion of history. Like Magic has been around for 30 plus years at this point. Like it's definitely collectible. There are cards that are still worth thousands of dollars from the older sets. But like I said, the ebb and the flow of Magic the Gathering has kind of come and gone over the years, but now it's kind of back in the forefront. So like ride this wave, enjoy it, and we'll see hopefully what Wizards of the Coast decides to do for the next one. But like this, I think is kind of that point in time where you're gonna see a shift in the card collecting, at least for Magic. Yes, they're still gonna, because this is a specialty set. So like they're still gonna be releasing their booster boxes, their whatever. But at least in the specialty set market, you're gonna see this as like the blueprint from here on out. At least that's my speculation.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. Aaron, so I couldn't come up with like three things to give three scoops of pop culture, but Magic the Gathering, everything that's happening right now with this card.
Yeah.
Is it three scoops or are you putting it back on the
No,
shelf?
it's three scoops. It's three scoops. Easy.
You
The
heard it right
easiest.
there, everybody. We got three scoops from Aaron on this
Yeah.
one. Three
No, this
scoops
is
from Aaron.
it's just a cool time. Like, I mean, I feel like the hype was around the LeBron James logo man, was about the same, but like that's sports cards. Like, again, going back to what you said, like, oh, people that did this were nerds, and like the nerds are taking over. Like, we're getting our time. So like for a Magic card to already have a $2.2 million bounty, I think that was even more than the LeBron. Like right off the bat, like somebody finds it, I'll buy it for 2 point. Not me personally, but there's an
Right.
offer on the table
Right.
for. I don't have that kind of money. $2.2 million. So like I feel like in the sports card world, this is the equivalent of that LeBron logo man. But I feel like this has the potential to become so much more because of the genre, because of Magic the Gathering. It checks every single box. The collector's market, the limited edition, just the artwork. I mean, if you haven't seen the artwork, there's a really cool 4-card set, and it's got Frodo, Sam, Gollum, and the One Ring, and you put all 4 cards together, and it makes the final scene where the One Ring's falling into Mount Doom.
Awesome.
And
that's awesome.
The artwork is just like it's unbelievable. So like I feel 3 scoops all the way. It's just a cool time to be a nerd and a collector of things.
Well, you heard it from Aaron, everybody. It is a cool time to be a nerd and a collector of things. And with that, I just want to tell everybody, follow us on Spotify.com/ used to be Anchor.fm.com, but now we're on Spotify. Zero Box Price Podcast. Listen to our last episode where me and Dave, me and Aaron go on a deep dive about physical media. That was a great last episode we just did. So check that out. This episode and the last episode that's on Spotify will be uploaded on YouTube by hopefully this Sunday. So for those that do not go on Spotify and you drive your car listening to YouTube, you can check us out on YouTube there also as well. Aaron, is there anything else that you want to tell our listeners?
No. I think we covered a lot. We kind of discussed this at the beginning. We're like, this is gonna be a quick show. And I said, Steve, when we get going, at least when I get going, I know I never shut up. But I like talking about this kind of stuff. And we're an hour and a half in right now. We're 90 minutes in, and definitely just stay safe out there. Just keep on doing what you're doing. If you enjoyed Diablo 4, let us know. If you're on the hunt for the One Ring, let us know. Give us your feedback. We want more comments, more suggestions on YouTube. If you have a topic that you want us to talk about, leave us a comment. Leave us a like. Leave us a comment.
Yes. And thank you for the last person that left us a comment back. I think it was a year ago, where he said that he likes the dynamic that me and Aaron had. I think his name was DJ S or DJ Dave or something DJ. But thank you for that, man. We appreciate that. And we're back. Because he said that he likes the dynamic between us and what we talk about. It's a true nerd. He said that during the Transformers episode, his head was about to explode. That was his comment, because he never knew so much about Transformers.
Hell, I didn't know that much about Transformers. That was a fun time for both of us.
No, it was. But thank you, everybody, for listening. And like Aaron said, keep collecting, keep having fun, and we'll see you in the next episode.